Have you ever felt stuck? In your work, in your life, or just with a nagging problem you can't seem to solve? What if I told you the solution isn't in finding the right answer, but in asking the right question? Welcome. Today we're diving into the core ideas from Warren Berger's incredible book, A More Beautiful Question. We're going to explore how the simple act of questioning can unlock innovation, spark creativity, and lead to profound change, both for organizations and for ourselves. Over the next few minutes, we'll embark on a journey. We'll start by understanding why questions are so critical. Then, we'll learn how to ask better ones. We'll look at how to build a personal habit of questioning and how to foster this culture within a team or a company. Finally, we'll see how a single, powerful question can become the foundation for a lasting legacy. Let's begin. Let's begin with our first section, where we discuss why asking questions is so important and why we fail in doing so. Let's start with a big idea. Innovation doesn't begin with a brilliant solution. It begins with a nagging question. Think about the most successful companies. Airbnb started because two guys asked, "What if you could rent out a spare room to a traveler?" Every great leap forward starts when someone looks at the world as it is and asks, "Why is it this way?" Or, "What if it were different?" Questions are the catalysts. They challenge our assumptions and force us to see new possibilities. Curiosity is the engine, and questions are the steering wheel, directing that curiosity toward discovery. So what happens when we stop asking questions? We go on autopilot. We become complacent. We assume that what worked yesterday will work tomorrow. This is incredibly dangerous. When a company or an individual stops being curious, they stop seeing the world change around them. They miss huge opportunities and become vulnerable to new challenges. The cost of not asking questions is stagnation. It's the risk of becoming irrelevant simply because we never stopped to ask, is there a better way? Now, this might sound strange, but sometimes being an expert can be a disadvantage. Why? Because when you're an expert, you have a set of answers and assumptions that have served you well. This can create blind spots. The real innovators manage to balance their deep knowledge with what's called a beginner's mind. They approach problems as if they're seeing them for the first time. They aren't afraid to ask dumb questions or to say, "I don't know." This openness to not knowing is where the most groundbreaking ideas come from. Okay, so we know questioning is important, but how do we get better at it? A simple but powerful technique is to turn our complaints into questions. Think about something that frustrates you at work. Instead of saying, "This process is so slow and inefficient," what if you asked, "How might we make this process twice as fast?" Or, "Why does this process exist in the first place?" This simple reframing shifts your mindset from frustration to problem solving. It moves you from being stuck in the present to creating a better future. Not all questions are created equal. The most creative journeys follow a simple sequence: why, what if, and how. You start with why to truly understand the situation. Why does this problem exist? Why do we do things this way? Then, you move to what if. This is where you dream. What if we had no limitations? What if we tried the opposite? This opens up a universe of possibilities. Finally, you ground those ideas in reality with how. How could we test that idea? How can we make it work? This sequence, from understanding to imagining to building, is the foundation of all innovation. To make a question truly powerful, it needs to inspire action. The "how might we" format is perfect for this. Notice the language. How suggests it's solvable. Might allows for experimentation without the pressure of getting it perfect. And we makes it collaborative. How might we improve our customer service is an invitation. It's an optimistic, actionable question that gets a team leaning in, ready to build together. This isn't just for businesses. It's a practice for a better life. Try this. For just 5 minutes every day, ask yourself a few key questions. What am I really doing today? Why am I doing it? Is this leading me to a future I want? This habit of scheduled reflection is like a compass. It helps you notice when you're drifting off course and allows you to proactively make changes, instead of waiting for a crisis to force your hand. It ensures you're living intentionally. Think back to when you were a child. What did you love to do? What activities made you lose all track of time? Asking questions about your past can reveal your deepest passions and motivations. Reconnecting with that childhood joy can help you find work and projects that feel less like a duty and more like play. This is where your best, most sustainable energy comes from. In our world of constant distraction, deep thinking is a superpower. But it requires a dedicated space. Create a thinking refuge, a time and place, free from your phone and other interruptions, where you can just sit with a single question. Protect this time fiercely. It's where you'll form unexpected connections and have your best ideas. You can't find a breakthrough idea if you're constantly being interrupted. Now let's apply this to a larger group. Many companies have a mission statement, like, "We are the best at X." It's a statement of fact, a full stop. What if, instead, a company's mission was a question? Something like, "How might we help our customers achieve their greatest potential?" A question is an invitation. It signals that the work is never finished and that everyone has a role to play in the journey. It's far more engaging. Here's a practical tip for your next team meeting. Instead of brainstorming for answers, try brainstorming for questions. For 15 minutes, the only goal is to generate as many questions as possible about the topic. This simple shift does something magical. It defers judgment. It allows the team to explore the problem from every angle without prematurely shutting down ideas. You'll uncover far more innovative paths this way. Innovative organizations don't write massive, detailed plans. Instead, they have a central question, and they budget for small, fast experiments to help answer it. They test their biggest assumptions first. They aren't afraid to fail, because they know that every failure is just data that refines their question and gets them closer to a real solution. They learn by doing. For this culture to stick, it has to start at the top. A leader's most important role is to be the chief question asker. When a leader publicly asks questions like, "What are we missing?" or "What should we stop doing?" it sends a powerful message. It signals that it's safe to be curious, it's safe to not have all the answers, and it's safe to challenge the status quo. This vulnerability is what empowers the entire team to think critically. To create a true culture of inquiry, you have to change your relationship with failure. We're not talking about rewarding carelessness. We're talking about rewarding smart failures, experiments that were well designed but didn't work out. Why? Because these failures teach you something valuable. When you reward the learning that comes from experimentation, not just the successful outcomes, you encourage the very behaviors that lead to breakthroughs. Asking beautiful questions is a skill, and like any skill, it can be taught and practiced. The best organizations actively run workshops to teach their employees how to formulate better questions. They make inquiry a core competency for everyone, not just the research and development team. When everyone is skilled at asking questions, the entire organization gets smarter. As we come to the end of our journey, let's think about legacy. You can be curious about 1,000 things, but real impact comes from committing to one beautiful question. What is a question that is meaningful to you, ambitious, and actionable? Choosing to focus on one single query allows you to go deep, build true expertise, and make a contribution that no one else can. You don't have to have it all figured out before you start. In fact, you can't. The best way to make progress on your question is to act your way into new thinking. Run small experiments. Build a prototype. Talk to people. Action creates clarity. It's the momentum from these small steps that attracts allies and turns an abstract idea into something real. And you don't have to do it alone. Share your question with the world. You'll be amazed at who comes forward to help. Great quests become collective movements. And remember, even success is not an endpoint. It's just the starting line for the next question. The goal isn't to arrive at a final answer. The goal is to live in a state of perpetual curiosity, to adopt a questioning mindset. Because ultimately, the quality of your questions will determine the quality of your life and the future you create. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of a more beautiful question. I want to leave you with one final question to carry with you. What is one beautiful question you will start asking today?